The third topic I want to discuss is obviously Claude's Sonnet release by Anthropic. Claude is one-upping GPT-4 in the test benchmarks, and so we'll see what the 5.0 of ChatGPT will be better.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not a new camera.
I'm always.
I mean, it does feel like a sort of arms race of AI, and I think Mark Zuckerberg was getting stuck in recently. He's like, oh, you guys are, without your closed off models are trying to create God. And, it is just, as you're saying, it's like always the sort of benchmarks that have been pushed, which is great. I mean, competition drives innovation.
Yeah.
So, things are going to be, keep being pushed. But what's interesting about the kind of Claude 3.5 Sonnet is, some of the benchmarks that they are using, which I was unaware of, things like the undergraduate level knowledge. It's MMLU, which is massive multitask language understanding. So that's one way that they help models, I guess, get context and understanding. Then there's the graduate level reasoning as well, or the GPQA, which is an interesting kind of graduate level Google proof Q&A. So a whole lot of experts have sort of put this system together of, I believe it's almost handwritten notes, I stand to be corrected, on different very difficult academic subjects that it has to then, they use that as something to base the sort of reasoning on, opposed to facts that you can just pull and verbatim sort of quote those. And then the last one about it is the coding proficiency, or the human eval, which is apparently a data set of about 164. I think that's probably the handwritten programming notes or problems is used to measure the functional correctness of code that these large language models generate. So it's interesting, all the benchmarks that they're kind of using to actually get different measurements of the functional areas of these large language models.
It's interesting where Claude, from my understanding, and hopefully I'm not missing something, but it does not go out and pull from real-time like websites. You have to upload that data still. ChatGPT 4 will go out and do that. Claude will stop you and say, I don't have access to go out and do that. So I've tried to do financial investment type of analytics for either one of those, where it's analyzing a stock picks or crypto or whatever it is for the last year or last 6 months, because things vary so much based on the news and things like that versus 2 years ago. So that's where Claude will say, well, I only have records up to this, this year, which is I think 2 years ago. But ChatGPT will go out and actually scan a lot of things and then analyze it, which I think is far more superior potentially.
I think that's a really good point, because again, the benchmarks that they sort of show and demonstrate, the capabilities, I'm always like skeptical of those benchmarks, because it seems, again, like very academic, like they're asking very specific, as you say, like graduate level questions or specific scientific questions, expecting specific answers coming back, which is all good and well. But if you train your model very specifically to try and target those benchmark kind of questions, you can kind of fudge the numbers a bit, I feel. It's very easy to do that. Because even with GPT-4o, this is obviously completely anecdotal, but I still feel it's not as good as GPT-4, just the base model is, just my own personal use with it. I feel it's, trying to come up with answers as best as it can, even if it makes stuff up way more than GPT-4 base did. It's just trying a bit too hard to just output something rather than saying, I'm not too sure, I don't know, or, try something else, or, I need more information to answer this for you properly. It's just trying to look impressive, but not really being that accurate. So I would be interested to see if, some tests come out that are a bit more sort of practical based. And then, as also Makoto was saying, when we're comparing these models, there's a bit more to them than just the model itself. Like, sure, okay, let's say we did come up with some metrics and we can see one model's a lot better at generating than the other. But what about the tools in the actual company itself? I mean, with OpenAI, you have all the image capabilities baked right in, has the data analytics inside it, allows you to upload documents really easily to it, has all these other tools that make it way more user-friendly. And also from a developer standpoint, like the APIs are really easy to integrate with, to set up accounts, to set up billing. And so I think when you're looking at sort of determining, should we switch to another model or not, I think it's definitely a lot more connotations and just pure answers that are coming back. It's like you kind of have to look at their entire suite of products. And what OpenAI isn't just the ChatGPT model. It's really all the tools and services they're building out around that really makes it a powerful sort of solution to go with. Yeah, I think there's always quite a bit more to consider there than just looking at the models themselves.